Imagine this: a crowded bar full of tough Marines fresh off deployment. One of them gets drunk, grabs the bartender by the wrist, and thinks he's found an easy target tonight. He has no idea the woman he just touched is a decorated Special Forces captain who survived 3 tours in Afghanistan and can kill a man in 7 different ways before he hits the floor. One wrong move, and this bar is about to turn into his worst nightmare. The dim lights of the rusty anchor hung low, casting long, flickering shadows across the scarred wooden floor. Salt air mixed with cigarette smoke and cheap whiskey. It was a typical Friday night just 2 miles from the San Diego Naval Base, the kind of place where Marines came to forget the desert and remember they were still alive. Behind the bar, Captain Maya Reeves wiped down the counter with slow, practiced movements. To everyone in the room she was just Maya, the quiet bartender with the tired smile and quick hands. 3 weeks undercover, and she had the role down perfectly: small talk about the weather, a laugh that never quite reached her eyes, the slight slump in her shoulders that said she'd seen too many last calls. But underneath the black apron was a woman forged in fire. 3 combat tours in Afghanistan. Hand-to-hand combat training most soldiers only heard rumors about. Scars hidden beneath ink and fabric that told stories no one in this bar would ever believe. Her real mission was simple on paper: find out who was moving stolen military-grade weapons through the port. Intelligence said the rusty anchor was where the dealers met their buyers. So every night she poured drinks, listened, watched, and waited. Tonight the bar was packed. A table of rowdy Marines in the corner was celebrating a homecoming, shots lining up faster than she could pour them. And the loudest one of all was Sergeant Thomas Miller, Force Recon, built like a tank and twice as mean when he drank. "Hey, sweetheart! Another round over here!" His voice cut through the noise like a knife. Maya slid the tray across the bar with a polite smile. But she felt his eyes on her the entire time, heavy, hungry, dangerous. Then his hand shot out and locked around her wrist, pulling her forward. "Why don't you come sit with us when you get off? Pretty little thing like you shouldn't be alone." The bar noise seemed to fade. Maya's heartbeat stayed perfectly steady. "I appreciate the offer, Sergeant," she said, voice calm, "but I'm going to have to say no." His grip tightened. Face twisted. "I don't like hearing no. Big mistake." In the blink of an eye, Maya twisted her wrist in a move taught to her by a legendary instructor in a dusty training yard years ago. Pressure point struck. His entire arm went numb from elbow to fingertips. Miller howled in pain and shock. The bar went dead silent. Then his 3 buddies stood up, chairs scraping back, fists already clenched. Maya's mind shifted into combat mode. Escape routes. Improvised weapons, bar knife under the counter, heavy glass mugs, full bottles of Jack that could shatter a skull. Miller lunged over the bar, swinging wild. Maya sidestepped, grabbed his collar, and used his own momentum to flip him clean over the counter. He crashed onto the floor on the other side, air exploding from his lungs. The first Marine charged. Maya blocked his punch with a metal serving tray, then drove a precise strike to the nerve cluster between neck and shoulder. He dropped like a sack. The second came low. She swept his legs, sent him sprawling. The third hesitated, just long enough for Maya to grab a bottle, smash the bottom against the counter, and level the jagged edge at him. That's when Miller pulled himself up, face purple with rage, and slid a military-issue combat knife from inside his jacket. The atmosphere changed in an instant. This wasn't drunk harassment anymore. "Who sent you?" he growled, voice low and suddenly sober. "We've been watching this bar. Waiting for someone exactly like you." Maya's blood turned to ice. He knew. He lunged with the knife. Glass met steel. The broken bottle sliced her palm, but she turned the blade away. A bar stool flew into his path, buying her a second. Then the third Marine grabbed her from behind in a bear hug, lifting her feet off the ground. Maya slammed her head back, crushed his nose, elbowed the solar plexus, spun free. But Miller was coming again, knife raised for the kill. The front door exploded open. Military police flooded in, rifles up. "Military police! Everyone down!" Now! Miller hesitated for half a second, then made his choice. He charged Maya one last time. She parried the blade. It sliced across her ribs, hot fire blooming under her shirt. Ignoring the pain, she hooked his arm, dropped her weight, and slammed him face first into the floor, knee in his back, arm locked until the MPs took over. Blood dripped from her side onto the sawdust floor as she stood. Her cover was completely blown. Outside, under the flashing red and blue lights, a black SUV pulled up. Colonel Anime Hayes, her handler, stepped out, face grim. Captain Reeves. Get in. We have a much bigger problem than we thought. Hours later, in a secure medical bay, Maya sat shirtless while a doctor stitched the gash in her side. 15 stitches. Colonel Hayes handed her a tablet. Sergeant Thomas Miller. Force Recon. 2 TERS. Decorated. And until tonight, no red flags. But he knew you were coming. That means the leak is inside our own house. By morning they had 3 more names. All Marines. All with sudden unexplained money in their accounts. And all connected to something called Project Cerberus, experimental weapons that were never supposed to leave the lab. Colonel Hayes looked Maya straight in the eye. The buyers meet tomorrow night at the harbor. Miller is willing to talk, in exchange for a deal. I need you on that op, Captain. Even if it means walking in there with the same man who just tried to gut you. 24 hours later, Maya stood in full tactical gear in the dark between rows of shipping containers. The salt air was cold. The only light came from distant cranes. Walking beside her, ankle tracker blinking, was Sergeant Miller. His face was bruised, lips split from their fight. He wouldn't meet her eyes. For what it's worth, he muttered. I didn't know who you were at first. When I figured it out. I had orders. Save it, Maya said coldly. Just get me to the colonel pulling your strings. 3 men waited by a plain white van. 2 low-level arms dealers Maya recognized from photos. The third made Miller freeze. That's Colonel Westfield. Head of procurement for special projects. A full-bird colonel selling weapons to terrorists. Maya keyed her hidden mic. Package in sight. We have a high-value trader. Show me the money first, Westfield said smoothly. Everything went according to plan, until one of the dealers looked closer at Miller. Wait, that's Miller. He got arrested last night. Chaos exploded. Gunfire cracked between the containers. Maya dove behind a container, returning fire. Miller, to her shock, moved to cover her, dropping one of the dealers. Westfield sprinted toward a waiting speedboat. Maya ran after him, boots pounding the pier. The boat engine roared to life. With no time to think, she sprinted harder, launched herself through the air, and tackled him into the boat. They crashed across the deck. Westfield was good, trained the same as her. He slammed her wounded side into the console. Pain exploded white-hot. He reached for a hidden pistol. Maya struck first, palm to the throat, knee to the groin, elbow to the temple. Westfield went limp. Dawn was breaking over the harbor as Maya dragged a handcuffed, unconscious colonel up the pier and dropped him at Colonel Hayes's feet. Miller stood nearby, hands raised, having fought on the right side when it counted. Weapons seized. Network destroyed. 3 terrorist cells stopped cold. 2 weeks later, Maya stood ramrod straight in dress blues as General Janet Wolfenberger pinned another commendation to her chest. Across the room, Sergeant Miller, now in custody orange but cooperating fully, gave her the smallest nod of respect. General Wolfenberger's voice carried through the room. Captain Reeves, your courage, skill, and refusal to quit exemplify everything we fight for. Maya stared straight ahead, thinking of a quote from Audie Murphy she'd memorized as a young private. Valor is not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of it. Some battles are fought on distant deserts. Some are fought in dark bars and colder harbors. And sometimes the most dangerous enemy wears the same uniform you do. But as long as there are soldiers like Maya Reeves willing to stand in the shadows and pretend to be weak, the quiet ones will always be the most deadly. What do you think would have happened if just one Marine had apologized and walked away that night? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this gave you chills, and subscribe for more real-life stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'll see you in the next one.